Good evening and thank you so much for tuning in to Dalsan TV English News, Somalia's premier TV station. My name is Abdelrazak Ali and we have a lot lined up for you. But first, let's have a look at some of our top headlines. Talks between Somalia's federal and regional leaders continue in Mogadishu for the second day. Senior police official and local TV reporter among those killed following 2 Al-Shabaab bombings in Mogadishu. An identified South African gunman killed a Somali trader near his home in Leandra, the latest ring of killing against Somali nationals in South African country. Senior police official in charge of Hodan district and local TV reporter Mohammed Isse Kona among those killed following 2 Al-Shabaab bombings near the Ministry of Education in Mogadishu's Kilometer 5 junction on Saturday. 2 large explosions occurred close to the Ministry of Education office near Sobe junction in Mogadishu on Saturday afternoon. A sizable billow of smoke was visible from the busy Kilometer 5 junction. A resident told Dalsan TV that windows were blown close to 1 kilometer away. The exact number of casualties is unknown, but witnesses and police say at least a dozen people may have been killed. A police spokesman said a journalist named Mohammed Issa Konan was among the dead.
Caruurtooda dusha ku haysta waxaa jira hooyooyin kale oo ay dileen ay isku kor dileen iyaga iyo caruurtooda oo muujinaysa taas oo muujinaysa dhaqanka xun ee khawaarijta nafalcaariga ay leeyihiin. qaraxyada oo ahaa 2 qarax waxay la beegsadeen isgoyska Soobe iyo agagaarka wasaaradda waxbarashada halkaas oo ah meeshii 5 sano ka hor ay saasoo kaleeto dad maati aan waxba galabsan ee argagixisada ku laysay. Weerarka oo ay la boogsadeen goob waxbarasho ayaa ujeedkoodu ahaa inay ku laayaan ardo iyo dad kale ee Soomaaliyeed ee waxba ka galabsanin argagixisada. laakiin ciidanka qaranka ee geesiyaasha ah oo ka fiijignaa dhagarta argagixisada ayaa qasaarihii inta uga hortagay sidaana ku yareeyay in qasaaruhu uusan gaarin goobtii argagixisada bartilmaameedka u ahaa ujeedadii rabaanbaha kala haadeen. waxaa wali socda tirikoobka dadkii goobta wax ka soo gaareen oo isugu jira dadka dhimashada ah iyo dhaawaca ah oo dhammaantood aan idin la soo wadaagi doono faahfaahintooda rasmiga ah walow hadda uu jiro tirikoobkii oo lagu wado dadkii meesha wax ka soo gaareen. dawladda Soomaaliya iyo saaxiibadeed waxay u taagan yihiin badbaadinta ilaalinta shacabka Soomaaliyeed.
Sources have confirmed to Dalsan TV Hodan District Police Commander Hussein Aidid Osman was also killed in the attack. A second large explosion came minutes after the first blast. The director of Mogadishu's only ambulance service said that 1 Amin ambulance driver was injured and his ambulance was destroyed while attempting to access the victims from the first explosion. The blast comes as senior government officials and security officials are meeting at the headquarters of the Somali police force in Mogadishu to discuss the ongoing offensive operations against Al-Shabaab. The Somali president and the leaders of the federal member states are also meeting in Mogadishu for a 2-day summit focused on security. No group has claimed responsibility for the attack, but the armed militant group Al-Shabaab frequently targets government and civilians buildings in Somalia's major cities. Saturday's twin bomb attack is close to the site of Somalia's worst terror attack. Over 500 people were killed and hundreds seriously injured 5 years ago in the infamous Sobe Junction blast that involved a truck packed with several hundred kilograms of military-grade and handmade explosives. Al-Shabaab stormed Somalia's education ministry in April 2015. During the attack, the militants killed 6 soldiers and 15 civilians. With the assistance of local militias, Somalia's federal government has launched a fresh offensive against the terrorist insurgency group, particularly in the Hiran and Middle Shabelle regions. Meanwhile, the Somali cabinet has promised to contribute 20% of its salaries to the war on Al-Shabaab thanks to the plans tabled by Prime Minister Hamza Abdi Barre. During its weekly meeting, the cabinet expressed its commitment to raising funds for the ongoing military offensive against Al-Shabaab.
The Somali cabinet this week pledged to contribute 20% of their salaries to the war on Al-Shabaab, thanks to plans tabled by Prime Minister Hamza Abdi Barre. During its weekly meeting, the cabinet expressed its commitment to raising funds for the ongoing military offensives across the country. According to a statement from the Prime Minister's office, The Federal Treasury will implement the agreed percentage wage cut with effect from next week. According to a statement from the Prime Minister's office, the Federal Treasury will implement the agreed percentage wage cut with effect from next month. The Prime Minister instructed the Finance Ministry to hold the money in a separate account. The development comes amid Somali forces, in collaboration with local clan militias, launched operations against Al-Shabaab in south-central Somalia. The forces liberated dozens of villages and towns in the Hiran and Galgaduud regions. According to the Somali Information Ministry, hundreds of Al-Shabaab fighters were killed in weeks-long security operations.
Meanwhile, unidentified South African gunmen have shot dead a Somali businessman in South Africa.
An unidentified South African gunman killed a Somali trader near his home in Leandra, the latest ring of killing against Somali nationals in the southern African country. The police found the body of 40-year-old Somali businessman next to his yard at the gate in Damagara Street after the man's neighbor informed the police about the incident. According to Constable Nontobeka Ngwena, Leandra police spokesperson, the victim had been shot twice in the chest and once in the back. Ngobeni said neighbors claimed to have heard gunshots during load shedding at about 23 p.m. local time. As the police investigation continues, no one has been arrested so far. For years, South African police have been accused of being complicit in attacks against immigrants, something that prompted many immigrants, including Somalis, to possess illegal arms in a desperate attempt to defend themselves and their properties against gangs. Dozens of Somalis have been killed in South Africa over the past few years. Many of them have had their businesses robbed and seriously wounded.
Ethiopia's Tigray region has run out of medical supplies such as vaccines, antibiotics, and insulins, according to the World Health Organization.
Ethiopia's Tigray region has run out of medical supplies such as vaccines, antibiotics, and insulin, the World Health Organization said on Friday, warning that many deaths were probably going unrecorded from preventable and treatable diseases. The conflict that has pitted Ethiopia's army against forces from the country's northern region of Tigray has killed thousands, displaced millions, and left thousands on the brink of famine. Peace talks are going on in South Africa. The conflict has led to a de facto blockade that has lasted around 2 years, although some aid supplies reached communities between March and August during a temporary ceasefire, which has since been broken. Only 9% of health facilities in Tigray are fully functional amid access constraints and fuel shortages. WHO officials told journalists in Geneva. Those that can still operate are resorting to using saline solutions to treat wounds and rags to dress them, they said. World Health Organization Chief Tedros Adhanom, a Tigrayan who lost his younger brother to a childhood disease, has been increasingly vocal about the health crisis. Ilham Abdelahir Noor, the WHO team lead for Ethiopia, described the malnutrition levels in Tigray as staggering, with nearly 1 in 3 children under 5 acutely malnourished.
We have come to the end of Dalsan TV English News. Thank you so much for tuning in to Dalsan TV. My name is Abdulrazak Ali.